Good afternoon. In this abbreviated presentation, I will first introduce the artist duo, discuss the reason for investigating into their techniques, and move on to a few of our findings. Pardon me. Gilbert George and George Passmore, known collectively as Gilbert and George, are a British artist duo who have been collaborating since 1967. Left, you see Gilbert and George as singing sculptures, the work that got them noticed as young artists, and to the right, the Dufek's greeting card, which formed their inspiration for making the pictures that I will talk about. Below right, their first postal sculpture made from their desire to be artists every day of their life. From 1971 onward, Gilbert and George meticulously arrange and manipulate photographs to make their photo sculptures or pictures, as I later refer to them. They often incorporate themselves in the work and use found slogans and phrases to enhance their visual message. Gilbert and George first used color in their black and white silver gelatin pictures in 1974, when they colored photographs of selected panels red. They increased the color palette in the 1980 pictures with an additional 4 colors shown in the work Atlas Leaves. 1982 marks the first year that the artist duo colors a single panel in more than one color, and later, color use becomes more intricate with a maximum of 9 colors on a single palette. Shown here, a detail of panels from 3 different pictures. The cyan and blue in the left and center image is more brilliant and denser along the edges where it is covered by the frame. And the lilac in the shoe of the upper right image is almost completely faded when compared to a detail of how the work originally looked, seen at the bottom right. As conservator, it is especially the issue of light sensitivity that interests me. So in collaboration with the Dutch and Belgian institutions that have Gilbert and George's works in their collection, a research project was started within the SBMK Project Photography. In an attempt to uncover their technique, the following approach was taken. Contact with the artists was sought, literature research was performed, and online sources were reviewed. And finally, on-site investigation of Gilbert and George's works was done at 5 institutions to visually study as many of the works as possible. 7 other works had been studied previously, and in all, 14 colored works have been surveyed. Shown here, a portion of an Excel sheet that we put together in an effort to understand their use of color and when these colors were used to identify patterns. So what did we learn? By surveying the Gilbert and George's Center's website, we can study their use of color and the amount of works they made each year. And from the Excel sheet I showed you just before, we can graph the information. We see, for example, that until 1978, they left work either uncolored or selectively colored panels in red. Visual investigation into the paper chosen for printing the black and white image indicates that for all work surveyed, color and black and white, all pictures are printed on the same paper. The fiber-based paper has a medium gloss and a grainy texture. In an interview, we learned that the paper was no longer available in 2000, and that this was one of the reasons for turning to digital means. Although we have not identified the types of colorants, it appears from the way that the colors cover the image and the lack of pigment particles we see under magnification that they are dyes. The far right image shows a speckled image area, colored pink, and at the lower edge, damage of the emulsion layer is visible. From this, we can see that the dye only penetrates the emulsion, as the white baryta layer under the emulsion is visible and unchanged in areas of damage. In the 2 remaining images from the black and white and green picture, we see that panels containing green were colored overall. The middle image is a black area hand-lit. Instead of the black cast you expect to see in the lit area, we see green. And in the scratch that we see in the right image, the green colorant is visible in an otherwise black color field. The red panels studied show similar results. From pencil markings on various pictures, we see that the artist duo sometimes marked the boundaries of an area to be colored or left uncolored. They also used natural borders, such as the black image lines as seen on the right-hand side of the middle image. To the right, a 200 times magnification of the area boxed on the left panel. Here we see that the blue dye covers the pink. Judging from this and other layered areas we studied in different panels, we can deduct that the artist duo laid down the lighter colors first. In the first image, we see brush strokes, and in the second, a brush or a sponge. The use of brushes and sponges was confirmed by an artist documentary and later also by fellow conservator Teresa Mesquite. The third image shows a clear, delineated border between the pink dye and the black area, which was left untoned. If you look at the shape of the pink-toned area, you see that it is not a shape that is easily drawn with a paintbrush. However, in studying the negative space, the black area, you can imagine a brush creating the sharp corner and round edges that we see. This brush will be applying a protective mask that isolates the area from being colored. In the left and center details, we see more signs of shapes and lines that support our idea that the artist duo was using photomasking gum. In comparison, the blue dye in the image on the right partially covers the black border, but unlike the images preceding it, it is soft and gradually diffuses at the outer edge. In contrast, the edges with the white in the same image are clearly defined, a little choppy, so here, again, a masking was probably used. Here are two more details of areas with defined borders: the lower edge of the pink region in the left image and the frayed jeans in the center. In the far right image, we see a small remnant of the masking gum. We found traces of masking gum on 4 of the pictures that we studied. Identification of selected dyes will be performed in the collaboration with the Cultural Heritage Lab of the Netherlands, and through analysis, we hope to identify dye families. We believe that some colors are actually a combination of dyes. This is illustrated here, where in the left image we see a small portion of yellow at the orange border. In the middle image, if we look carefully at the black, we see the end of the blue dye overlapping the black from above. We see the orange border, but we also see a yellow halide beyond this. If we look at the 60-time magnification on the right, we see pink and yellow. The subtractive color theory tells us that yellow and magenta, here more of a pink perhaps, gives us red or orange. Here the subtractive color wheel as a reminder. So it's possible that sometimes dyes are layered in order to create a color. In conclusion, by learning about the artist, studying photographic practices, and carefully studying the surface of the pictures in search of remnants and markings left behind, we can build a theory on how these pictures were colored. Here's a summary of our thoughts. The artist duo started by making silver gelatin, black and white photo sculptures that were later called pictures. They introduced red 4 years later. Their color palette gradually increased to up to 9 colors per panel. Pencil was sometimes used to indicate borders to be colored or left uncolored. Imagery and black borders are also used as natural borders. When more colors are added to a panel, photomasking gum is likely applied. Photomasking gum was applied using a brush to cover areas that were left uncolored. Light colors are laid down first using a brush, sponge, or cloth. By layering different colored dyes, new colors may be created. The publication that follows will present a more complete picture of how they performed their hand coloring and the dyes that they used. But I hope that for now, our summarized findings provide you with a first understanding of Gilbert and George's analog hand-colored methods. Charlotte Brewaeys, who's my co-author in this talk, shortly after writing the abstract with me for the symposium, left the cultural heritage field and went into information technology. But I thank her for helping me with the research, and I'm thanking all the others that are listed here and the organizers of this meeting. Thank you.